Welcome to the Checker Chat. I'm Blake.
And I'm Justin.
And this week we're going to be bringing you guys a recap of the Michigan race weekend and looking ahead to Mexico this weekend.
Mexico. Yeah, so this is round 2 of filming this episode, so bear with us. I forgot to plug in our mic, so you guys would have had an episode of video of us just blabbering on for an hour
with no
audio. I thought about making a post and being like, hey, actually, you know what? That's a good idea. We can edit this out if it's not funny or whatever.
Okay.
But when I'm like, hey, our episode will be a little late, and here's why, and it's just us going, talking. Yeah. But anyways, we're here now, a little later than expected, but we're still here to talk about NASCAR and talk about Mexico and talk about Michigan. So, I'm going to hit you guys with some news first, which is always fun. Rams back in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
Big announcement. Big, huge.
That wasn't leaked. Nobody knew it was
Nobody
coming.
leaked it. It was all a surprise.
Yeah.
It was the greatest kept secret since Sleep Token's identity.
Christopher Bell ruining that Truex was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Or Truex was leaving and
Yeah.
Briscoe was coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Chase is, congrats, Chase Elliott, going to JG. But yeah, so Ram officially announces that they are going to be coming back to the Truck Series. I feel like they missed a key opportunity, and I know that the crowd compared to a Cup race and a truck race is totally different, but I do feel like they should have done it on Saturday just because it is the series that they're going to be racing in. But, it is what it is. Michael Waltrip ruined it on the broadcast, basically.
Yeah. And then I think people got confused because he was saying, it was something along the lines of, I want them to announce Cletus is going to go, which, according to Cletus, that is not true.
Yeah,
at least as of right now.
We'll see, because I could see it going either way. I could see him doing more ARCA, but then also I could see him, just because of his hype and everything, making the jump to truck and just, being in truck.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But yeah, so Ram does their big announcement before the Cup Series race, and if you watch the Cup Series race, every other commercial was about Ram coming back and everything.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
They wanted to make sure that you got it.
Everybody knew by the end of that broadcast.
Before that race started and the announcement happened, everyone knew already. But
yeah, I keep bumping you. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're good.
Also, to add, as you can tell, we are not in my kitchen now.
Yes.
We are now recording in me and Mal's office. So, yeah, it's still in my house. We're still, we don't have a studio or anything. So, as you can see, we have this lovely banner, Shake and Bake behind us. But you'll also see some other stuff behind us. But, this is also my wife's space and also mine. But this is where we're recording now. New setup. Really excited about this. Yeah. It's going to be cool. I meant to mention that off the rip, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, next thing on news is Legacy is in talks of acquiring a third charter, and apparently they are looking at Jesse Love driving that third charter.
I think it was Bob Pockris that first kind of started talking about that.
Yeah, I think it probably was Bob. But it's cool to see Jesse actually being looked at by a Cup Series team, even though he doesn't necessarily have the greatest finishes. I'm comparing it to Corey Heim coming to Cup.
Right.
He doesn't have the greatest finishes compared to Corey. But also,
he's in the Xfinity Series. Corey's in the truck, so that can weigh. But something interesting that I kind of thought of in between the yesterday's failed attempt of an episode to recording today, 311 and Front Row had their day in court again.
Yeah.
And they do not have to be treated as chartered teams for the rest of this year, if I understood it correctly.
Yeah, I think they have till, good Lord, I think it's either Pocono or Atlanta to come to some kind of agreement.
Yeah, which I would assume at this point they're just going to have to tuck their tails.
Yeah,
in all honesty. But if they don't and they continue to try to fight it and then NASCAR essentially repos their charters at the end of this year, then you have 6, well, I don't know how it works because a couple of them are from Stewart Haas closing, and I don't know if they bought them or they're leasing them for a year. I don't know. It kind of gets messy at that point. But you have some extra charters floating around for a Legacy to get an extra charter, if RCR wanted to add an extra charter, which I think would kind of be dumb because honestly,
let's be real. If RCR is adding another charter, Austin Hill's coming up to Cup.
I think it'd be Jesse Love. I don't think they would be.
Bro, there is.
I was about to say I don't think they'd be dumb enough, but they would be.
Yeah, I could see it because he has sat in that Xfinity ride for so long, and I know that he's a Xfinity for lifer and everything, but I could see him getting a Cup opportunity if RCR adds a third charter.
I don't know. I almost would feel like the way they would look at it is we have Austin Dillon, who we don't know how long he's going to run.
True.
He might just transition into some sort of ownership role at RCR or just a different position than being a driver. And then Kyle Busch, most likely, as soon as Brexton's old enough to race trucks, is going to call it quits in the Cup Series and go run a season or two of trucks with Brexton and then call it a day.
Yeah.
So you would almost want, if you were smart, to like bring the future of RCR in.
I get what
if you
you're
get
saying.
Austin Hill,
you're going to have him for probably another
few handful of years. Honestly, he's probably not much younger than Austin Dillon.
Yeah. I mean, probably at most 7.
And that might be pushing it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have he wouldn't have the same job security, obviously, as Austin Dillon or Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
So if you bring him up and he
sucks.
Yeah. Or, honestly, he's just meh. Which, if we really want to be honest, he's not the greatest Xfinity driver.
No, not at all. He's just a super speedway version.
He wins super speedways, and then he runs pretty decent everywhere. That's why he hasn't won a championship.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's okay. He's mid everywhere else, and then super speedways, he's
like prime Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart,
whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, Legacy looking at Jesse Love. Arby's is sponsoring the Chicago Street Course. They land as the final sponsor for that one.
Yeah.
We have the meets 250 or 300, however many.
Something like that.
I don't know. They probably won't call it anything, but it'll just be the Chicago Street Course or Street Race sponsored by Arby's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just imagine they're like, oh yeah, Arby's is the sponsor. Arby's is gonna cater everything, and just imagine driving around the streets of Chicago in a stock car with the meat sweats from the what's the sandwich there, the cheddar, what is it,
like the roast beef and cheddar?
Yeah, beef and cheddar or something. I don't know, I haven't had Arby's in probably 8 years.
Arby's is very mid.
It's every once in a while,
it's one of those you roll through the drive-thru once or twice a year and it's pretty good.
If even.
Yeah.
I think when I was in college, there was just one day I was I think I was sick, and this was a few weeks before COVID happened, so I don't know if I had COVID or not, whatever. I was sick, and I was man, I really want an Arby's for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. I got it. It was awesome. And then I remember, oh yeah, Arby's is not actually good.
Yeah.
But that is the beef and cheddar is the way to go there, I think. Melty cheese is good. But yeah, a fast food place that sells roast beef, not the greatest idea in the world, but it's something different. It's not your everyday burger joint. Sorry, we talked about Arby's for a minute. Anyways, so yesterday in the news when we filmed this wasn't in there. Well, it was, but it was modified.
Yesterday it was, if Denny does not have his baby by Thursday, he's not going to Mexico. Well, he had his baby today, but he put out a statement saying he wants to, be with Jordan and, be there for her whenever she gets to come home and kind of just take the weekend off to focus on family and whatnot.
Yeah.
Good on him.
I get it. I mean, because imagine it's like we decide as a couple, yeah, I'm not going to go to Mexico if you have it before Thursday, then I will.
I'm dipping.
I'm out. But then it's like it happened on Thursday. I guess you kind of look like a douchebag if you're like,
yeah,
see ya, But
I mean, let's be real. He wasn't probably going to run all that great there anyway.
That's true.
And he's going to get a waiver.
Yeah.
Which I don't know with the new way that they're doing waivers if he's going to have to forfeit any playoff points for missing the race.
I don't think so. I think because of the fact of it's
like a family matter.
Yeah, it's the birth of his child.
Yeah.
His first son also.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But so Ryan Truex will be in the 11 this weekend, which I think will be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, it'd be crazy if he ended up winning. I'm like,
yeah.
I'll cheer for the 11 if Ryan Truex is driving it because I like Ryan Truex.
Yeah. I also not that I just hate JGR or anything, but I really want him to outrun Ty Gibbs or Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, honestly, any of them.
I mean, honestly, let's be real. He's probably going to outrun Ty Gibbs. Let's just...
I
know Ty Gibbs is a little bit better of a road course racer, but I still think he's going to outrun him. Something's going to happen to Ty Gibbs.
That'd be hilarious.
Let's be real. This is what's going to happen in Mexico. SVG, Suarez, they're going to run up top for most of the race.
You're going to have Chase Elliott sprinkled in up there, probably Larson.
Yeah.
Maybe Kyle Busch ran good at COTA earlier this year. Probably Reddick.
And then somehow Chris Buescher's going to win the race. Somehow. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, he's won on road courses before.
That's true.
Well, or a road course. I don't remember if it's multiple. But, I mean, he runs pretty good there. He's one of the better next-gen road course racers, if not maybe the best, honestly, statistic-wise.
Yeah. So, also something I brought up in yesterday's Lost episode. So, if you grew up in the rock, metalcore, Warped Tour music scene, you'll remember a band called Bring Me the Horizon. And I'm bringing this up again, and Blake's like, oh my God, why are you bringing this up again? But I'm going to bring it up because I want it to be on the record that I mentioned this. Denny's fiance's name is Jordan Fish. Bring Me the Horizon's old keyboard player, also named Jordan Fish. Pretty crazy. I'm not saying he's, engaged to Jordan Fish from Bring Me the Horizon at all, but I just think it's funny. It's a funny coincidence. I think I noticed it the first time I watched Full Speed.
Okay.
Because I saw it was like Jordan Fish. Why does that sound? Oh my God! That's what it was. But yeah, so Ryan Truex is filling in for Denny Hamlin. Ty Dillon absolutely murked a squirrel on pit road. That whole deal was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean the radio from it just killed me. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, very sad for the squirrel, but at the end of it, I mean, for their spotter to be like, this one's for the squirrel, and then they run
mid
25th, something like that.
Showed glimpses. I'll give him that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, the Kaulig cars this season,
they're overperforming. I mean, you look at playoff standings, point standings. Maybe he doesn't look as good as some of the speed he's shown, but Allmendinger could point his way in.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
if
for
some
sure
crazy
could
enough
happen.
things happen. He's in the bubble, he's in the hunt.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean,
it's wild,
and it's just weird seeing him do good on ovals.
Yeah,
I mean, I know in Xfinity he had a few oval wins and stuff, but still, it's just it's an interesting time for sure for Kaulig.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to let Blake take because he brought this one up and I don't know much about it.
So this past weekend, there was no Xfinity race. Connor Zilic is a Red Bull driver.
If you didn't know.
Yeah, if you didn't know. So they flew him out to be part of a PR event kind of deal with Red Bull, which also had Max Verstappen with his F1 car. Zilic had a cup car. and then just other forms of motorsports that Red Bull are involved in. And there was a clip where Zilich was standing next to the Cup car. Max came by, and they both were like, "Hey, good to see you, man. How you doing? What's up?" And Max was like, "You ready to go?" And Zilich was like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm ready." He's like, "You want to hop in this thing, give it a shot?" Pointing at the next gen car, and Verstappen goes, "Oh man, I'd love to." So we like to throw out, quote unquote conspiracies and crazy ideas. So maybe one day we could see Max Verstappen run in NASCAR.
Yeah, no, I would love to see that. I mean, because it would put the whole Larson versus Verstappen kind of deal to.
What if he just came over and wrecked Kyle Larson the first opportunity he had?
He bumps into like Ty Gibbs. He's like, "Oh, I can do this.
No penalty.
No penalty." Absolutely headhunts Kyle Larson and just turns him in.
Well, I think the interesting thing would be like if you watch F1 at all, you've seen like Max can lose his head at times. And this past weekend's race, he like went wheel to wheel and just slammed George Russell out of the way. And he got like a 10-second penalty or something, which dropped him from around 4th to probably closer to 10th. Kind of like really screwed his whole day up. But it comes to NASCAR, somebody gets on his bad side, he gets frustrated with him, he can door slam him, move him out of the way, and he's not going to get penalized.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, oh, he's going to come over and win.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But
you put him on COTA or Mexico, I think he probably stands a pretty decent shot.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, especially Mexico right now.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, if you put him in the inaugural Mexico race, where the only people, honestly, with experience at that point would be him and Daniel Suarez, I would almost put money, and this isn't anything against Suarez, but I would almost put money on Verstappen never have been able to run a Cup car to finish better than Suarez.
I could see that. I mean, because Suarez has run there in the NASCAR Mexico Series.
Yeah, I think it was like 8 times. He's won 3 of them. He's had 2 bad finishes, and I think the rest of his finishes have been like
top
5, top 10s. Like when he doesn't get into trouble, it seems like he does really good there in the NASCAR Mexico Series.
Yeah,
so
that'll be interesting this weekend. But before we get into this coming up weekend, we were in Michigan this past weekend, and we had a truck series race, and the truck series, the truck series race, I was about to say that. That just make you do a spit take. That's awesome.
I heard you start like stuttering over your words. I was like, no,
anyway,
finish the sip.
Surprise, Corey Heim did not win. Did I pick him last week? I think I did.
Probably.
No.
You picked Corey.
No,
LaJoy.
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. But
it was the Zinger week.
Yeah, it was the Zingo week. Yeah. So, but Corey Heim did not win the race. He does sweep stage 1 and 2. Stage 1 goes caution free. I mean, clean racing.
Pretty impressive for the truck series.
Yeah,
honestly,
no,
at times.
for sure. I mean, when they don't wreck on lap 2, it's I think Harvick calls it like a lap 0 caution.
Yeah.
Like literally on the first lap. But stage 2 pretty much is kind of just like Heim versus Hocevar. Really gets me excited to watch in the future. Sorry, y'all. When both of them are in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really cool to see them, in Cup cars battling it out.
Because, I mean, in a way, that's almost like the next wave of stars in the sport and the next talented crop of drivers to come to the Cup Series.
Yeah, because I mean you got to think you got like Hocevar, Corey Heim, Jesse Love.
Well, I realize now the way I said that makes it sound like Hocevar doesn't already run in the Cup Series.
But I mean he's in his second year.
Yeah, I mean it's really just all the young talent that is gonna.
Zilich.
If they're not there, they're gonna come up and they're gonna kind of be the new face.
Yeah, I mean you have Zilich, Jesse Love, Carson Quaffle, Raja.
Probably throw Lane Riggs in there, maybe.
Yeah, I could see Lane Riggs coming eventually.
Xfinity wise though, there's not a whole lot that like jump off the page immediately.
Yeah, outside of like Junior's team.
Oh yeah, I
Subtract
mean,
Allgaier.
yeah.
But
Sammy Smith and Quapful might be a little more of a long-term project to get up.
But I think it'll eventually probably happen.
Yeah, I could see one of them. Well, I could see one of them staying a Xfinity lifer.
Yeah.
But like Sam Mayer, I feel like the hype around him's kind of died.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
And then like Sheldon Creed,
he's destined for Xfinity for life.
He's destined to finish second in 7 Xfinity races a year for the rest of his career.
Or get absolutely obliterated.
At Bristol.
Yeah. One or the other. But yeah, so stage 2, Corey Heim wins. And then the first caution comes out when Jack Wood just spins out on his own. Then the next one is with Raja. He kind of tries to shoot a gap to make a 3-wide situation, just gets squeezed and ends up spinning out.
Backed it kind of like passenger corner into the wall pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because it was weird seeing like they showed the angle of the driver's side, and I was like, well, wow, that truck's fine. It must not have hit that hard. And then they like panned to a different angle, and I was like,
that makes
never
sense.
mind, he's done.
I'm going to skip that one, and I will skip that one. Wait, no, I won't. Tyler Ankrum and Caden Honeycutt it looked like really big contact that I'm amazed that neither of them spun out from. It doesn't bring out a caution, but just notable kind of deal.
Pretty just impressive that they kept it going straight.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, y'all. This, good Lord, yawns are contagious. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's like scientifically proven. This weekend was just like the weekend of big hits. I mean,
yeah,
all around. But then the middle of the stage was kind of just back and forth in the lead between Enfinger and Chastain, the Melon Man himself, the Florida man. And at some point in this, Chastain gets sideways as Hocevar passes him. And I mean sideways as in like sideways. Like I'm talking like
Formula Drift.
Yes, like 50 Cent's hat back in his heyday, sideways.
I mean, like looking at people in the campgrounds.
Yes.
Don't know how he saved it.
Yeah, and somehow saves it. I mean, I'm talking like just an absolute insane save. So, yeah, and then that put Hocevar up in the lead. And then there's a debris caution, and the only reason I mention it is because on this restart, we had Ross Chastain getting a really bad Truck Series style push, and it wrecks basically half the field.
It was like a super speedway big one, but
it
literally
was,
like on restart.
Yeah, it was.
I don't even think they made it over the start-finish line before the wreck. But,
no, it was one of those like similar to like the well. Maybe not. Didn't cause as big of a wreck with this one, but the Larson push at it. I believe it was Homestead. Yeah. Or it was either Homestead or Bristol, where he gets the really bad push and then just kind of goes to the middle and starts to go back. Which
it was Homestead in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
And I think it was Sam Mayer that gave him the push.
Yeah, that sounds right. It looks sort of similar to that, just in the style of push and then kind of gets pushed over to the side a little bit, and then I can't remember if Larson's even brought out a wreck, but I remember it.
I don't think it did.
It just pushed him to the middle and dragged him back.
Yeah,
but it was the same kind of thing. It looked like it was happening, but it's the Truck Series, and if they're gonna wreck, they're gonna be like, big. Somebody's wrecking. I have to wreck too.
Not quite to the level of Chris Wright.
No.
You're still going to catch a stray on your off weekend. Sorry about it.
Yeah, you definitely will. So that sends us into an overtime restart. There was three overtime restarts that happened with this. This guy has the coolest name, I think, of any driver I've ever heard in my life. Lawless Allen. This guy hit the wall so hard. I mean, like, it was the second hardest hit of the entire weekend, I think, for sure. And,
well, maybe third. There's 2 in the Cup Series race that were pretty big.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm thinking of the one.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was thinking of... We'll get to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Lawless Alan, coolest name ever, slams, like, just passenger side completely into the wall. Doesn't spin out, doesn't anything, just big hit. And then Daniel Hemrick ends up blowing a left side tire, which...
ruined any shot he had at maybe trying to steal one.
Yeah.
Because the big one, if you will, took out a lot of your contenders, really. Like
it didn't take out one guy that everybody clowned me for picking him to win the Truck Series, but we'll get to that one in a second. So Matt Mills gets into the wall from a 4-wide situation and brings out another caution. And then we have our last overtime restart. And your winner was Stuart Friesen.
Good for him.
Good for him. I can't remember who it was, and we should have looked it up because we said this last night. But there was in the broadcast, I think it was Grant Enfinger. Well, no, it wasn't. I think it was Luke Fenhouse. One of them. I don't know what the deal was. It was before the last restart, and he's in second. And whoever the lady is that announces, you looked it up last night. I cannot remember. Jamie Little. She's like, where'd he come from? And then Michael Waltrip I'm talking like 5 seconds of silence.
Ben Rhodes.
It's Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes. So she's like, where'd Ben Rhodes come from? It's like 5 seconds of silence. And then he just goes, Kentucky. And, me and Mal were quite literally in tears at that. It was so funny. I don't know why it just caught me off guard. It was
just a very Michael Waltrip thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm convinced that he is under the influence of something for a lot of his.
You can think back to him dropping the taco on, was it Denny's car or something?
Yeah.
The whole promoter's caution deal, that whole deal. But yeah, so your top 10 was Stuart Friesen, Luke Fenhouse, Ben Rhodes.
Well, Grant Enfinger was second.
Oops, my bad. Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger, second. Luke Fenhouse, Ben Rhodes, Corey LaJoy, and that's the one that I picked to win, and he was in contention to win. He was running in first for a lot of that.
He was in contention to win because everybody got taken out.
Yes, you're right, but still.
No, you can have your victory. It's okay. I just want the people to know that we were joking earlier in the race about how much he was just...
running in like 28th.
It was like 17th, 24th, like pretty consistently, just kind of meh.
Matt Crafton, Jake Garcia, Chandler Smith, Andreas Perez de Lara. That was a mouthful. Lane Riggs in 10th.
I think honestly on the truck, broadcast and everything, I think they just call him Andres Perez. I don't think they include the de Lara.
You're right. You're right. That is true.
Because that caught me off guard when I was looking through, and I was like, even though in my head I know what number truck he drives, for some reason reading out Andres Perez de Lara didn't
click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just probably me being me.
Yeah. But
I don't agree with that.
No, you would say the same thing if I did something.
No, I know.
If I messed up a word, you would be like, yeah.
Clip it. Put it in the compilation.
This guy. Yeah. Yeah, literally every time. Clip it! But yeah, so that's all we have on the truck race. Blake, what went down with the Cup Series race?
So, Mr. Saturday himself, as you have started to like to call him, Mr. Briscoe.
Mr. Saturday.
Has won the pole for the race. And
third in a row.
Yeah, third in a row. Good on him. I think, honestly, they'll probably start putting it together a little more. You might see less poles because they might try to put a little more handling in the car to, qualify top 10, top 15 with handling so they're better in the first stage. Excuse me. And then they can just make adjustments as they go. Well, stage 1 was won by Mr. Busher. Stage 2 is won by William Byron, who honestly could have won both stages.
Yeah.
So yeah, stage 1 went completely green. Nothing to talk about on that one, really. I mean, William Byron, I think Busher probably passed him with like 10 to 15 to go, I think, in the stage, something like that. But on lap 60, John Hunter Nemechek and Noah Gragson spin off turn 2, racing round 18th. and they weren't like door to door or anything. But they both spun at the same time, and I mean, it looked like you were watching the same car, like.
Did you call it like synchronized swimming or synchronized
it was like a synchronized spinning or something, something like that.
Synchronized spinning, yeah.
It was kind of trippy to watch because you were like,
wait a second,
why are they doing it like at the same time? Lap 67 on the restart, Austin Cindric and Cole Custer get together, which ends up collecting Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, and Alex Bowman, who honestly, I think I would say took one of the 5 hardest hits of the next-gen era so far.
Yeah.
Seeing a heavy stock car go head first into the wall and lift every tire off of the ground, off of a frontal impact, is a pretty significant. Also, they had to throw a red flag to repair the wall, if that tells you anything.
It was a big hit. I mean, I think today was cleared to race in Mexico.
Okay, that's good.
But I mean, he basically just said I got my bell rung for sure, but I mean, I'm sore, but I'm good.
And like, I mean, if anybody's gonna have that hard of a hit, it sucks. But like, history almost tells you it's gonna be Bowman.
Yeah, no. If something bad's gonna happen, oh my gosh, we're yawning back and forth.
I looked at you at the wrong time.
Yeah, quit looking at me. Look at the camera, and that's it. Just straight on.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. Again, lap 73, John Hunter Nemechek spins out, but this time it's all on his own from 33rd in turns 3 and 4.
John Hunter Nemechek.
Nemechok.
I said
I know.
Nemechok.
Nemechok. There's different ways you could go about the last name. Anyway, I definitely bought into the hype at the wrong time.
Yeah, because wasn't it on the episode we did with Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
he's the biggest overperformer this season.
Which, I mean, to that point, there was a handful you could have picked from, but he made sense.
Yeah. Fair. Valid.
For the sake of that, we're going to say he's just having a couple bad races and he's going to get it back together. Is that going to happen? Honestly, I don't know.
Let's hope so.
Okay, the next one. Lap 109, when Justin woke up from his stage 2 nap to the worst news that he could receive.
I woke up it's like caution. I just see Blaney's car sitting there. I texted Blake. I was like, I took a nap. I just woke up. And he's like, you picked the worst time to wake up in the world.
I still, I don't know why that was a caution. Because he gets into the wall, he spins down the track. He still kind of spins a little bit on pit road, and he's getting it going again. And they throw the caution while he's sitting there on pit road getting it going. If you're going to throw the caution, throw it when he gets in the wall because there are cars coming, when he's coming down the track in the path of other cars. But, he's out of the way. You're not in the middle of a pit cycle. Nobody else is going to pit. Just let it go.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt him about the same.
That's true.
Either way you slice it. You're not helping a guy out, which also that'd be another topic of why is NASCAR trying to help a driver out,
True.
But, yeah, so Blaney got a win, and he went right back to his bad luck streak. But, hey, he has a win. You're not like me over here bamboozled every week by the awful strategies that Alan Gustafson just pulls out of his rear end.
Yeah. It's been a tough year. 9 and 12 fans.
Yeah, well, I think the thing Sunday that got me was Alan Gustafson makes a bold call, 2 tires, gets track position. With said track position, I think it was top 5. He races his way up to the front, passes people, pure speed, blows by Ryan Blaney like it was nothing for the lead. And then in typical fashion, I think that one was around the time of John Hunter Nemechek, and it was either him spinning out by himself or when him and Gragson spun out. But in typical Chase Elliott fashion, he gets the lead and he doesn't have the opportunity to just set sail and try to, the bad luck of he gets the lead and then caution comes out, struck again. But then they go off strategy of everyone else and they stay out to keep the lead. And they knew at some point they were going to have to pit for fuel because everybody else was better on fuel than they were because they stayed out. Well, then another caution comes out. There are 2 people on the strategy. And yeah, I know Bell already has 3 wins on the year. He can gamble more than Chase.
Yeah.
But, you've made your bet at that point. you're staying out. All you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot by pitting, because nobody else is going to pit. You're going to be the last car on the lead lap.
True.
Just stay out again.
Yeah.
And if another caution happens, you might luck into more people pitting because they've been out. Like, okay, well, if we pit now, we can for sure make the end of the stage. We'll have fresher tires. It might be a net gain at that point to stay out. I mean, maybe you lose a couple spots, but you're still up there. I don't know. Fire Alan Gustafson.
Yeah.
TBD on the pit crew.
Valid.
I mean, clean house. There's no world that, like, it should be this miserable to watch a Chase Elliott run.
Yeah, I agree. Yawn counter. Add to it.
And, like, yeah, he's the, the best on points that doesn't have a win, but, like, that's just not rewarded the same anymore with the way the playoff format is. Like, they're going to have to find that extra bit of speed to contend for wins.
Yeah, 100%.
Or call the right strategy to contend for wins, if that's what it comes down to. But I'll get off my Chase Elliott pedestal of this episode. That rant is over.
Yeah, it'll be back next week probably.
I was about to say it's not, but we're going to a road course, so it probably is.
Yeah, there'll be something. Who knows?
I'll try to limit that from here on out. We don't need a.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that you are a Chase Elliott fan. I mean, you're wearing a Chase Elliott hat, you have a Chase Elliott shirt on, and you have a Chase Elliott diecast in front of you.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You guys know, listening to the episode, who we're fans of.
Which is funny because on yesterday's Lost File, I'm wearing a Brad Keselowski shirt. I have a Ryan Blaney diecast in front of me.
That's true. Yeah, because our diecast situation is interesting because I just recently got some 124s, and everything you've seen, well, not everything from this point, but anything newer is Blake's. All of mine are all older ones, like as you can see here in the middle, the Rusty Wallace, Harley Davidson, the Jeff Gordon Bush series, Star Wars Episode 1, and then the Tony Stewart. That lady finally shipped my Jeff Gordon ones. Thank God. Thank you, random lady on Mercari. I appreciate it. I appreciate the deal you got me. But anyways, back to the race. Yeah. So lap 182.
Well, 146 Gilliland.
Oh, my God. How did I think we were... Okay, there we go. Yeah, you go ahead and talk about that one.
So this was the one I was talking about that was another really hard hit.
Oh.
Because he blew the tire, kind of coming off of 2, and then just backed it in. And, I mean, the trunk was wide open. It was smashed into the back the back window. I mean, it was all sorts of messed up.
Yeah.
Lap 182, this was just when I knew this race was not going to go any sort of way that I wanted it to. Carson Hocevar blows a lead from the tire, or blows a tire from the lead.
Yep, he sure did.
I mean, technically, he did blow the lead on that. Mm-hmm. He blew a tire from the lead, which continues his bad luck string. But we kind of already knew before that the chances of him winning weren't super likely because how short they were on fuel.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it was one of those, he was going to eventually have to, he can go out there and lead so many laps, but he's going to eventually have to pit for gas. But then, I
think they were honestly just hoping that there was going to be a caution. Yeah. Somebody was going to run out of gas farther back in the field, bring out a caution, or, he was just going to go pedal to the metal and try to stretch the lead out and entice the people behind him to chase. Which also, this kind of brings me to a point that just small little thing I thought about. I don't love the fact that every team can see every other driver's SMT data live during the race.
Yeah.
Because, okay, let's say you want to run that strategy of I'm going to go pedal to the metal and try to run the people out behind me. Chris Gale sitting on the box for Denny Hamlin's going to be he's 4 laps short.
Yeah.
He's pushing very hard. Just don't worry about him.
Yeah.
Because, I think it was Denny's radio that they were playing at one point where you could hear, so-and-so's running 50% throttle here, 60% throttle there. They only get up to 80% throttle. They're definitely fuel saving. You are half a lap to the good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have that access for your team.
Yeah,
Hendrick can look at Hendrick stuff. Penske look at Penske, etc. I don't love the fact that, like, you can just straight up, all right, we're racing Carson Hocevar. Put this in. Okay. Hey, so this is exactly what Carson Hocevar is doing right now.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying. So lap 199, Byron ends up running out of gas. It's the lap before
it's coming off of turn 4, going to take the white flag.
Yeah.
Which he'd already got passed for the lead, so like I already kind of had just accepted that I was going to turn the race off as soon as the checkered flag was over. Because Denny Hamlin won. But hey, we don't have to worry about that this weekend.
Yeah,
he's going to go home and play dad.
Like he's not already a dad.
Him and Jordan were split up for years.
That's true. Good point. True. But
yes, he is already a dad.
Yeah.
So
he's going to go home and do new dad things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy a cheesy hat from Barstool that says dad. You'll never catch me in my life. Anything.
We're going to clip
like
this
that.
just in case.
There's one shirt that I saw that I was like, okay, that's actually cool. It was like, it was a black shirt, said dad, but it was in like the metal band font.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay, I'd wear that. Like, that's cool. But yeah, no, I'm not wearing a hat that says dad or having house shoes that say Papa Bear or something like that. Which what's funny is when I was in college, I bought a pair of house shoes and they said Papa Bear on them, but I bought them just as like a joke.
Like for the memes?
Yeah, like I was like, oh, these are on sale and it's funny. But yeah, anyways.
Back to what you came here to listen to.
And not our little side tangents, you know. Hey, you guys are just learning more and more about us every week.
The rest of your top 10 for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. brings it home second. Ty Gibbs, third. So the hate watch is off this week, guys. We'll resume it in Mexico. Don't worry.
What's a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
Literally.
That's
Wallace.
Eric Jones.
Yeah, that's fair. Bubba Wallace finished fourth. Larson was fifth. Ross Chastain sixth. Zane Smith seventh. Birthday boy.
Happy birthday.
Good finish for. Well, Sunday was his birthday, the day of the race. If that wasn't clear.
Yeah, today's Thursday.
Yeah.
We said this on the Lost episode, but we normally record on Wednesdays, so anything that comes out post Wednesday, typically minus this week, will be in the next episode. Yeah. So continue.
Kyle Busch finished eighth.
Let's go.
What's a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
Shut up. No.
That definitely means he's going to wreck this weekend.
Kyle Busch is my second favorite driver, if you didn't know.
And to round out the top 10 and even more just crazy finishes, Ryan Preece 9th, Brad Keselowski 10th, which means all 3 RFK cars got a top 10.
Finally. It's about time.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, no, I want to see RFK at least win a race this season. That'd be nice. But while Blake yawns, that's all we have on Cup.
Yeah. You want to kind of quickly go over playoff standings?
Yeah. So with us not having an Xfinity race to go over this week, we're going to bring you guys your quarterly, your not just actually random, just not set for any time necessarily.
Literally, NASCAR
standings.
Made a graphic, and we were like,
cool.
Yeah, we're going to do it this week.
We'll talk about it this week. So right now, you're sitting with your top 3 in points are Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell.
All with 3 wins apiece.
All with 3 wins apiece.
And the only ones to have multiple wins, which doesn't shock me. You could have told me that at the beginning of the year, and I'd be like, yep.
Checks out.
100%.
Then you have William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, and Ross Chastain. And that's all of your race winners right there.
Which, honestly, I think at this point, it's crazy to see only 1 win next to William Byron.
Yeah.
Because he's been running very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, he's been really, really consistent. That's for sure. And then your first guy in on points is old Chase Elliott.
Yeah. Woo. In 10th. Out of 16.
You know, if anyone is going to, if there is one person to point their way in, say there's 15 different race winners.
Yeah, it's going to be Chase.
It's going to be Chase. Then you've got Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace. Makes sense to see the 2311 cars right there together with kind of the season they both have had. Now, they are a huge differential of points. Yeah, that's interesting for sure.
And then also you'll notice they're a 3-car team. Where is the 3rd car, you might ask? We don't even know.
He's off in the field picking daisies or whatever you said.
Yeah, he's somewhere around 30th in points. I think he's out of a job soon, probably, personally, but we'll see.
Yeah. So Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, and Ryan Preece. And that is your current playoff people who are actually in. Then your bubble battle gets interesting because Kyle Busch and Ryan Preece are actually tied, but whatever the tiebreaker is puts Ryan Preece above him. Yeah, I mean, I know the tiebreaker isn't the amount of DNFs you've had this season. So, I mean, Kyle Busch is below him. Then you have Carson Hocevar, who was sitting above the cut line prior to this week.
Yeah. I mean, if he finishes this race and if he finishes the Coke 600, he's probably comfortably in the points.
Yeah.
Or comfortably pointing his way in.
Yeah. And then you have AJ Allmendinger and then Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Two really big overperformers, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, we already harped on college cars for this race or for this episode, but Ricky Stenhouse is way overperforming for what his team and his gear is. I mean, he just has been. I mean, granted, last year they did have a win, but he's doing really well this season.
Also, Bowman, with his streak of bad luck lately, just piling on, it's really put him in the conversation of he could miss the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that he could, if the cards fall right, he could win a race.
Yeah, well, and they've showed too much speed this year. I don't know. At some point they're going to put it together. Even if they don't win, I think they're just going to have a crazy hot streak of good finishes that are going to help boost them in points.
I could see that.
Because some of the people around that bubble are going to have bad races.
Yeah.
And theoretically, maybe Bowman's already got his bad races out of the way in this stretch.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. I mean, for his sake, for Lily's sake.
Yeah. Blake's girlfriend is the biggest Bowman fan I've ever met in my life. So yeah, she it's been a tough year for
all of us.
All of us, honestly.
Well, except for you.
I mean,
overall, yes, but your driver does also have a win.
Yeah, but I will say I would say that he has more DNFs than...
He has more DNFs than Chase, for sure.
Chase, and I would say Bowman, too, I think.
Probably.
Odds are. But next week we head to... I almost moved something in the notes. Next week we head to Mexico. This is a road course. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it.
They're essentially, from what I can tell, running the F1 circuit.
Yeah, that is kind of what it looked like.
And there might be a small tweak or two to it, but for the most part,
yeah,
this would probably be an interesting race if you like F1 to tune in and see what NASCAR is about, because you know the track.
Definitely. So we don't have any past next-gen winners here because this is the first time we ran here.
Yeah, first time ever the Cup cars went to Mexico. The first time NASCAR has been to Mexico since 2008 with the then Busch Series.
Yep.
And that race was won by...
Kyle Busch. Yep. So we do this every week on the podcast. We used to just do TikToks about it, but now we're doing it on the podcast. Our favorite and our least favorite paint schemes for this week. Blake, what you got on your favorite?
My favorite for this weekend, I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez's Telcel car. It's not super flashy. It's not the craziest paint scheme ever, but it's just really clean.
Yeah.
The blue, the white, it looks very good.
Yeah.
I was torn between this and another one that I will let Justin talk about.
Yeah, because it's my favorite. The Frosty Swirl Ross Chastain #1.
Yeah.
That is, it looks good on the 1. It looks good on the 99. It's just a good scheme. I'm a sucker for a tie-dye looking car. I mean, one of my all-time favorite paint schemes is the Dale Senior tie-dye. I cannot remember what exactly the sponsor is. I have the 64 of it.
It was designed by Peter Max.
Yes, the Peter Max one. That's one of my all-time favorites, and I'm a big Jeff Gordon guy, so lots of colors and everything. So, you could see how I would pick that one. But least favorite.
I'm going to shock the world here. Cody Ware in the Arrowhead brass car.
Surprise, surprise.
Not only, honestly, is this one about gold wheels, the paint scheme itself is just terrible.
Yeah.
There's really no redeeming quality in the paint scheme.
I agree.
And I won't really spend too much more time on that. That's kind of all I have to say about it.
Miley,
you won't see it on your TV. Don't worry.
It'll. There's no chance. Unless it's wrecking. That could be the case. But my least favorite is Tyler Reddick's Xfinity Mobile purple white car. I just don't like this scheme. I don't think there's much more to it. It was between this and Chumba Casino. I mean, I can only pick that one as my least favorite so many times.
Ultimately, what Justin's trying to say is 2311, do better.
They do good. Like, they have killer schemes, and then they have god-awful.
There's no in-between, I feel like, with them. It's either, oh my God, I love this, give me 5 of them right now, or please never, ever, ever
I guess the
put this on a
in-between
track.
would be the monster cars.
That thing sucks, though.
But
it's
it's
so
not-
boring.
When it's just straight monster, yes.
Yes.
But like the hard monster, like the hard seltzers.
Yeah, but Riley I don't think Riley Herbst has ran that this year, has he? I think he's ran like Treetop Apple Juice and Monster, like alternating pretty much.
I think Reddick
runs the
those
are fine.
Those are fine. The straight monster, those are your mids, but like that's few and far between.
I do like a lot of the Beast Unleashed ones, the hard seltzers.
Yeah, but that's all we got on paint schemes for this week. Like we said, no past next gen winners. You can tell I'm enunciating all that very correctly because I messed it up like 4 times last night when we tried to record this on the lost episode. But on to our race win picks for this week. Blake, who you got for Xfinity?
Daniel Suarez.
Good one.
So I think that with his experience, that's going to help him this weekend. I'm not confident enough to say that win will come on Sunday. So I'm saying Saturday because, I mean, he's in a junior motorsports car.
True.
Very solid Xfinity car. Ross Chastain ran good earlier in the year at COTA with it. Zilich is very good in the JRM car on road courses. So I don't see why Suarez can't win.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, I agree.
And I also just think that would be a great story.
Yeah, at least he gets some kind of win this weekend, whether it's, NASCAR Mexico, Xfinity, or Cup.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that man is running every race that there is there this weekend, it seems like, almost. Actually, literally he is running every race there. So my Xfinity pick, I went with Connor Zilich. Good road course guy, obviously.
Kind of his thing.
I think that he's shown a lot of speed this season. He's shown good speed on ovals. He's shown good speed on road courses, and he's a road course guy. So I feel like it's kind of one of the more obvious picks. Not a zinger week. Sorry, guy from Instagram or whatever. I doubt he even listens to the podcast. If you do, hi, cool, how's it going? But either way, shout out to what's his name? Your cousin
Earl.
Earl, what up, Earl? Thank
Shout
you for
out.
listening. You're cool. Yeah.
No.
Sorry, we were talking about that earlier, and I just thought about it when we were talking about the other dude. Anyways, so Cup picks. Me and Blake both picked the same person.
This is going to shock the whole world. We
Big
picked Cody
zinger.
Ware.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I was trying to think. So I was like, Joey Logano.
John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah. We thought that Corey LaJoie was going to win from the broadcast booth.
We thought he was going to hijack Ryan Truex's car on the grid.
He said, man, they need a sub driver. I got you. I'm doing it.
But in all seriousness.
Yeah. We picked SVG for this week. And, I mean, that's the thing. If you're talking about a playoff picture and guys who win, you can't not pencil him in for a road course win.
Because all the road courses this year happen outside of the playoffs, excluding the Roval.
Yeah. But I think that it's going to be a good race. It's going to be cool.
I think, looking back on the street course, he came in, no experience. Nobody else had experience on the street course. He won.
Mm-hmm.
He's been strong on road courses in the Cup car.
Very true.
It feels like a layup, so it probably isn't going to happen. But the other thing, too, is, like, he's so far down in the points. Like, he didn't make the top 32 for the in-season tournament. That, like, this isn't on the same... I don't know. It arguably could be considered, depending on who you are, on the same level of Harrison Burton winning Daytona last year.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It feels wrong to say.
Talking about Harrison Burton, I want to bring this up. I thought this was pretty funny. I went to Target the other day. This is so off topic.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Target the other day to look for diecast, and there was a 164, just the back of the package, Harrison Burton. Somebody stole a Harrison Burton car. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, there was like Busher and Larson up there. I'm like, I could see those before
Right.
Harrison Burton. I don't know. Maybe there's a huge Harrison Burton fan that lives near the Target that I go to and was doing a 5-finger discount on them. I don't know. Maybe they're mad about the prices going up on them, but who knows?
But ultimately, before our little side tangent there, I think this is one of the... Every year it seems to happen that there's going to be one, maybe two people that have no chance of making the playoffs if it is not for a win, that find a way to win and just shake everything up and make it crazy going towards the end. Really could see this weekend being the start of that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because, like, looking at the bubble, Hocevar has a shot of winning a race before the playoffs start. Kyle Busch, honestly, could back his way into a win at some point.
Yeah.
And could win. Like, there's a lot of people sitting there around the bubble that could win and shake it up.
Yeah, 100%. But you want to talk about our little ARCA endeavor?
Yeah. So we kind of slacked on making posts and different stuff about this.
To be fair on that, because I do all the posts and everything, the car wasn't finished till Friday morning.
Yeah,
nothing on the team. I get waiting the longest with the whole situation and everything to put everyone on. And then this is the events of Friday night.
So, shout out to Brayton Laster, new friend of the pod.
Yeah, super cool dude. Pizza man.
Yeah. So, he tweeted out last Friday, unfortunately, our primary car blew up in practice. We were sitting around 15th to 20th on the time charts, and we were looking forward to a really good race. We have a backup car that's set up for Berlin, a short track, not Michigan.
Not at all.
But it had a big track gear in it. So they were kind of, honestly hoping for the best at that point. Huge, and he said huge thanks to everybody who helped us out this weekend. So ultimately, they ran a backup car, and we did not get the opportunity to see our logo on the ARCA car running. But because Brayton is a super great guy, he DMs me back. And he says, hey, in case you weren't aware, the primary car blew up in practice and we had to run the backup with no stickers on it. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you, man. You guys were a big help. While it's hard to do a complete race makeup for everyone all at once because of budgeting, etc. I can't promise the hood will be open again, but I will try to fit your sticker in for a couple more races this year.
Yeah, and we're just along for the ride with this one. This is a super cool opportunity. Brayton, thank you for that.
And it was really just a right place, right time that I happened to be scrolling Twitter after Rajah won Nashville, and I saw his post about, if you have $50 burning a hole in your pocket and you want to sponsor an ARCA car, shoot me a DM. So I was like, yeah why not?
Because, the hood was, and again, we will eventually do something with this. The hood was like, it was funny. It was funny looking, I think, because it was so many things on there.
Yeah.
But there was like maybe a total of like 5 or 6 of the sponsors that were actually like serious things, like, our podcast, a racing YouTube channel, an actual business, the rest of it was like memes.
We were, I think, right next to a Frenchie in a hoodie.
Yeah, something like that. I debated on getting a picture of Rosie on there. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, dude, Brayden, if you're listening, thank you. And you ain't got to put us on the hood. You can just put us wherever. We're just, like I said, along for the ride. Yeah, super thankful for that opportunity. The car actually got made on iRacing.
Yeah.
So our logo's now in iRacing too.
We're on an ARCA car and iRacing.
Yep. And then also it was brought up on Door Bumper Clear this week. They were talking about the ARCA race. They were kind of clowning it with all the multiple sponsors on ARCA cars and everything. They were like, yeah, some guy was there with like 30 different sponsors on his hood. And I'm like, That's us. We're one of those 30 sponsors.
Yeah.
Which the thing is, like, if you're, not a big ARCA team and everything, and you're just, going week to week to get to the track, I get you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And I mean, Brayton does a lot with what he can, in all honesty.
Definitely.
Because he's not, as fortunate in the sense of he's not like a silver spoon child whose parents own a large company or have the in with NASCAR. He's not the William Sawalich, the Ty Gibbs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would like to state that I'm not saying that in a negative way, but he goes out there and makes an honest living, working every day, and he still, funds going racing.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
The American dream.
Yeah.
In some people's eyes.
Yeah, definitely.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, but, excited for, new friend in NASCAR, friend of the pod of ours. Yeah. So I think that is all we have for this week.
Yeah.
Yep. So this has been the Checkered Chat. I'm Justin.
I'm Blake.
You guys can follow us on Instagram, TikTok. If you want to follow Twitter, go ahead. We have one. It's not very active, but it's there.
We'll try to make it more active.
We'll try. We need to. We need to stop saying, oh, the Twitter thunks, and then it's like we could actually do something with it. But either way, listen to the podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Audible, all those places you can follow us. You can like, comment, subscribe, whatever.
Leave a rating.
Leave a rating.
Leave what you think of us.
Yeah. Literally. Break down every bit of us in a comment. Like I said last week.
You can tell us how wrong we are on some stuff.
Go ahead.
We would also love to hear from some of you about your opinions on things,
yeah,
too.
Definitely. And if you got anything that you want us to talk about, any questions you got, message us. We're not a private account or anything stupid like that. I run all the social medias minus Twitter just because I don't know how to work Twitter. I'm old. Sorry.
We kind of split Instagram. You take TikTok.
That's true.
And then I need to do better on making the Twitter.
It is what it is, But, yeah, so you guys can follow us and do all that on there. We will see you guys next week.